One of the most rumored pieces of upcoming game tech is the PS5 Pro. I feel like ever since the PS5 even released, or even really shortly before it, we were hearing speculation and rumor of what a Pro system for this generation could be like. After all, the concept of a mid-cycle Pro system is kind of a new thing. PlayStation traditionally has not done a mid-cycle boost in the form of a power bump, instead usually favoring cheaper slimline systems. But with the PS4, we got the 4 Pro, and therefore, everyone's been wondering about the potential of a 5 Pro. And there's been a lot of evidence in the form of things like rumors and leaks that have suggested very heavily that it is not simply a possibility, but rather something that is happening and most likely is coming out, in fact, this year. But as you may have noticed, we're getting close to the end of August. There's only 4 months left of the year, which are also usually the busiest time for game releases. And because there's been so much rumor and speculation and talk of a Pro happening, people are getting a little antsy about where it is. PlayStation has yet to do any kind of official announcement or even really themselves talked about the concept in the first place. And the thing is, that's actually pretty normal. If you look at the history of PlayStation when it comes to announcing things like this, yeah, some things have been announced well in advance, but some other stuff has been announced pretty closely. I mean, the PlayStation 5 Slim very recently had a very short window between reveal and release, and I think the most poignant thing to compare to is the PS4 Pro. When that was released back in 2016, it had only been officially revealed 2 months prior in September. There was plenty of rumor and talk and signs and speculation that that was a thing that was going to happen, but Sony themselves didn't officially say anything until September of that year. And so while people have been keeping their eyes open at major past events like the Summer Game Show, as well as PlayStation's own State of Play that happened right before then, earlier this week we had Gamescom, there was no sign of it there, there is a very healthy chance that, assuming this is a thing that's happening this year, PlayStation isn't really going to talk about it until September. Now, I have seen some people speculate that because Tokyo Game Show is in September, that could be a place they announce it, and I honestly think it's more likely for PlayStation just to do it on their own timeline. Even with this most recent Summer Game Showcase, PlayStation did their own State of Play alongside it, and that's where they really focused on all their own first-party stuff. And they did make an appearance at Summer Game Fest, but it was specifically to announce their one game that was getting a multi-platform release with LEGO Horizon. So when it comes to them talking up their own stuff, I really feel like PlayStation has now taken the direction of doing everything at their own events, at their own pace, and on their own timeline. And so while something like Tokyo Game Show is certainly a possibility, I think it's much more likely for Sony to just do their own announcement, either as part of a showcase that they announce and then have shortly thereafter, or even possibly just announcing it out of the blue with a trailer drop and showcase. Now, the other thing I want to touch on is the potential release date for the system, because right now there's a lot of heavy speculation for sometime in November, which there's a good reason for. November is usually when you release things like this. Not even necessarily looking at PlayStation specifically, November is just always a very popular month for releasing a lot of major tech because you're getting people excited for the holiday season. They are going to be buying up that initial first wave as gifts for themselves or for others, and then once things can restock afterwards, people potentially have spending money after the holidays that can then go towards buying refreshed stock. And when you look at PlayStation specifically, that has been the trend. The PlayStation 5 released in November, the recent Slim refresh was released in November, the PS4 Pro was in November, the PS4 was in November, very likely November. But there's one thing about this year that does make me question if maybe, just maybe, they dodged the conventional wisdom on this a little bit in favor of an early December release date. That's because this year has a bit of significance for PlayStation outside of just being another continued year for the system and the release of the 5 Pro potentially. It's also their 30th anniversary. The original PlayStation released on December 3rd, 1994, and while PlayStation has yet to do any kind of major talks or celebration about it, the fact is, it's a major anniversary year, and this is something they have celebrated in the past. For instance, when we had the 20th anniversary back in 2014, there was a special edition PS4 that was released as part of that. And so having a midline system refresh happen on the same year that they're celebrating a major milestone anniversary makes me wonder if they would tie that in. Now, it's entirely possible that they do celebrate the 30th anniversary, but in a totally different way. The 5 Pro could come out in early November, and then on December 3rd, there's some kind of special edition regular 5 that comes out, or even just a controller, some accessories, other ways of tapping into that anniversary. But there's just this part of me that absolutely fixates on the concept that a 5 Pro is happening and 30th anniversary is happening, and there's that cross-section of maybe it comes out early December. There are some very good reasons for them not to take that route because, again, there's a reason why companies tend to target November for releases, but I just have to wonder. Either way, I hope we get the official reveal of this soon, whether it does end up being sometime in early September with their own event, or if they do it as part of Tokyo Game Show later in September. Primarily because, with their first Pro system, the PS4 Pro, there was a very clear, easy sales pitch right off the bat that even in the early speculation time, people were able to latch onto right away. 4K support. PS5 Pro, I'm still curious what exactly that's going to be. I mean, there's been plenty of rumors that have suggested what the system's focus is going to be. The lead thing that really stands out to me as believable is PlayStation having their own in-house upscaling tech that the system would take advantage of, and while still being more powerful than the current PS5, would also leverage that tech in order to hit higher resolutions while not impacting performance, and thus giving us something that is, not true native 4K with high frame rates, but 4K that looks pretty dang close to the naked eye and hits those high frame rates. There's some other stuff that could be bundled in with that as well, like having a higher internal storage, hitting 2 terabyte rather than the 1 terabyte we have in the current system. There's of course also the curiosity of what this thing is going to cost. Are we looking at 100 over the MSRP of the current system, 200 over? I just think that, especially compared to their last mid-cycle bump with the 4 Pro, the 5 Pro is just such a greater mystery of what exactly it's going to offer consumers over the regular 5, and whether or not it's going to be something significant enough to be worth paying the extra money, or in some cases, even upgrading from the current system to that one for people that have already grabbed a PS5. No matter what, if the Pro is in fact happening this year, the countdown timer has started and is going, and we will hopefully see it sometime in the next couple weeks. There's also the possibility that, PlayStation originally planned to release this a couple months ago, and every time a YouTuber makes a PS5 Pro speculation video, they add an hour to the release date, in which case it's probably never coming out at this rate, but we'll find out hopefully very soon. Let me know down below in the comments what you all are thinking. What exact form will the 5 Pro take? What do you think it's going to cost? Do you think it'd be something you're actually interested in grabbing? What would it need to offer to make you interested in grabbing it? As always, if you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button to let me know, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you all later.